Imagine a world where music is no longer taught. Emotion and expression are now lost to the world, and communication between cultures is all but gone. Surely, this is nothing but a bad dream. Yet, as a future music educator, I know that this is exactly the road that schools across the U.S. are headed. As the U.S. economy continues to struggle, school districts are forced to make cuts, but they are often hesitant to cut any sports or academic activities. Instead, it's the music programs that are given the shaft. Music programs continue to be defunded from public schools due to budget cuts, yet the programs serve to provide important academic and social assets. How then can we as musicians and parents of future students and students currently here move to save an art form that has existed for thousands of years? Well, in order to figure out this plan of attack, we first have to understand why music education is in danger in the first place. We have to take into consideration the viewpoint of the school board members who make the decisions to cut music during financial crises. In David M. Hedgecoth and Sarah H. Fisher's 2014 article titled, "What History is Teaching Us? 100 Years of Advocacy in Music Education," the value of music education was determined by music advocate William Earhart, who after 12 years of studying the effects of music on students concluded that music is justified because it engages in three areas: aesthetic, educational, and social. Unfortunately, to school board members, the arts are seen as useless. This is due to a number of reasons, namely low recruitment numbers and the fact that music programs simply aren't as profitable as sports programs. In addition, it's often the elementary programs that are cut first, as these are lower level programs. However, these programs provide the foundation of learning, and these classes are not often offered at the middle school and high school level. Instead, they are offered as electives. As such, you have students who never receive a music education. So we understand why music education is in danger, but we still have to determine if it's a real problem. We have to understand how the loss of music education in public schools could be detrimental to young children's development in school. In particular, how it affects academic and social elements of students. We'll begin with academic benefits. There have been decades of studies, hundreds of researches that demonstrate the benefit of music on the core subjects. By taking these studies together and reviewing them, we get a good understanding of how music benefits subjects such as math and reading. In Catherine Vaughn's 2000 article titled "Music and Mathematics: Modest Support for the Oft-Claimed Relationship," Vaughn reviews a number of studies which you can see here. These studies examine the relationship between studying music and math test scores. She concluded that a small association between the voluntary study of music and mathematics achievement was found when 20 studies with correlational designs were combined. Now what this means is that studies with similar backgrounds of information and similar results prove a positive relationship between music and math. Likewise, in Jane M. Stanley's 2008 article titled, "Does Music Instruction Help Children Learn to Read?" Stanley provides several studies that demonstrates the effects of learning music alongside a reading curriculum. After reviewing over 30 studies, as you see here, Stanley concluded that music activities that incorporate specific reading skills matched to the needs of identified children will enhance reading instructions. What this asserts is that while normally developing students have no problems learning how to read, those that continue to struggle learning how to read can use musical activities that reinforce positive learning outcomes, which allows these students to catch back up to their peers. This is especially crucial during the early childhood development stage. However, the academic benefits don't just stop at early childhood. They can also benefit high school and college-bound students. Here we have statistics purported by the College Board on SAT scores, which compares the scores of different fields of research with the average test scores of all students in the nation. By comparing these scores, you'll notice that the average scores of musicians are far above the average of the nation. Musicians on average score 31 points above average in reading, 23 points above average in math, and 31 points above average in writing. But music does not just boost test scores. It's also an important social and emotional stronghold for students. There are no bench warmers in music. Every student works together to create a positive and successful performance. Meanwhile, in sports, you have many students who sit on the bench for almost the entire game. There's a sense of camaraderie in music that is simply not found anywhere else. In the 2009 book, Introduction to Music Studies, Studying Music, author J.P.E. Harper Scott defines music's use in public schools as an art form that is not just for the highly talented geniuses, but also for the everyday man. This is also different from sports, who often only take the most talented students. Music classes are there for everyone. Everyone is allowed to participate. It's clear that we have a definite problem by cutting music. With the loss of music in schools comes a loss in opportunities for students. Fortunately, we can solve this problem through music advocacy. Music advocacy has existed since the beginning of music education, but you might be interested to know that music education did not always exist in the US. In fact, it didn't really gain a firm standing in school until Lowell Mason, who was a music educator, who introduced a music curriculum to grade schools over 100 years ago. In Kevin Shorner Johnson's 2013 article titled "Building Evidence for Music Education Advocacy," he reflects on the beginning of music education and how Lowell Mason and Robert Woodridge succeeded in keeping music in public schools. Shorner Johnson stated that, under Mason and Woodridge, the most effective venue for the demonstration of their models of music education was the concert performance. This is important because simply pushing statistics in the front of a school board is not going to be enough. They want definitive proof that music is having a positive influence on students. And the only way to do that is through demonstration, through performances. Now, there are also other arguments about the right plan of action to save music education. But while such actions such as fundraising and public exposure may help for a short period of time, only music education advocacy can save music programs in the long haul. For fundraising simply cannot sustain a program on its own. And likewise, public exposure does little to nothing if the school board itself does not see the performances. Music advocacy is the only long-term solution to keep music in schools and to keep funding as well. So now we have a plan of attack, but how can you all be involved in promoting music in public schools? Well, first of all, you should attend school board meetings. There are many occasions where district decisions are made without any input from concerned parents and community members. If we sit back and remain complacent, then it is only a matter of time before music is wiped out from schools across the US. Second of all, be involved with your local music program. Don't just attend the concerts. Join your local music boosters, who often fundraise and advocate for music. There's strength in numbers, and the music boosters are one of the primary means of gaining support for the program. Yes, it is true that music programs, despite their benefits, are being cut from school districts across America, but through music advocacy, we can preserve music making for generations to come.